Okay, your name for the record, sir?
For the record, Eric Edison with the law firm of Waldman Trigoboff on behalf of Strand Management.
Okay, Eric, could you spell your last name, please?
Sure, Edison, Edison.
Okay, Hoffel, would you like to, Inspector Hoffel, would you like to go proceed?
Inspector Hoffel, Hollywood Fire Rescue Fire Inspector. For 2300 Hayes Street, I wrote a violation April 27 of 2015 for work without permits. This is a warehouse building in a strip of warehouses on Hayes Street that they built almost wall to wall or a very large size skateboard ramp without a permit, and we've been working our ways to getting that into compliance. The case was heard, I believe, in January with the magistrate, and they had just turned in a permit, and that permit has had the first reviews, and it was basically missing a lot of information, so they have to resubmit, and it was not approved. So I'm recommending 30 days to comply at $250 a day.
Okay, let me just look at the file real quickly. There's a history here.
Madam Magistrate, I have that may help our motion for continuance and our response in opposition that we will be submitting into evidence.
Okay, at this point, a continuance has not been agreed to.
No, it has not, Madam
That
Magistrate.
is correct, Magistrate.
Pardon me?
That is correct. We have not agreed to a continuance. The city
Okay.
would actually object to the continuance.
Okay, Mr. Edison, let me just make things as simple as possible. Your position today is to argue for continuance or to argue against her recommendation of 30 days and a $250 fine if not complied by then. Is that your position?
My position is both, Madam Magistrate, and because this matter is a little bit more complicated than that, if you could give me just a few minutes.
Okay.
This is an indoor skateboard ramp in a warehouse on 2300 Hayes Street that's primarily used for family use. And it was built 16 years ago by skateboard specialists. And for the past 16 years, the fire department has known about this ramp and any of the issues with regards to it. Now, briefly, this property is impeccably maintained. It has a new roof, permitted electrical, brand new AC, paint, upgraded hurricane fencing and landscaping, and that's true for all the properties that Strand Management owns on Hayes Street. There's no overflow parking, there's no polluting activities or illicit activities, and the use is extremely low frequency, just a few hours a month. And so this property is actually an example for all the rest that are on in that particular area. Now, at the last hearing with your counterpart, a continuance was allowed because we had submitted a permit to the city of Hollywood. Even though we believed that one was not necessary, we did so anyway. And we're requesting a continuance now because the city did not actually complete. The city actually, ma'am, did not complete its permit review until April 10th, 2017. And I dispute the fact that our proposals were insufficient or incomplete. And Strand Management has been extremely responsive to the city. In fact, in tab B, we have multiple letters to various individuals in Mr. Sauer's department responding to any inquiries that they may have. In fact, the entity that has been totally unresponsive to Strand Management has been the fire department. And we have, as they requested a life safety review, when we provided correspondence to them, they failed to even reply or acknowledge same. Now,
let me stop you and just ask you one stupid question, because I haven't had this case before.
No.
Why does somebody have a warehouse with a ramp in it and nothing else that's used once in a while by a family member?
Well, I think that question is actually best addressed. I have my client here, Mr. Scott Schlesinger, who is the primary owner of Strand Management. This was built for Mr. Schlesinger's children and is primarily used by his children and his family members.
Okay, and wait a minute, this is not a commercial. This
is absolutely not open to the public. It is not commercial. It is simply for family and private use.
Okay, I just want to hear from her now, because this is a new thing for me. I just want to see what we're dealing with. Okay, Inspector?
This is a commercial property, it is a warehouse, and we have questioned, because it is listed a while ago, because this case goes back many years, it was listed on a, best skate parks in Florida. However, the fire code does not differentiate if it's only for public or private. It's basically, an assembly, people are meeting there, so for the fire and the building codes, it does not matter if it's for just family or not. It's a commercial building, and the occupancy type is based on how they're using it, not public or private.
Okay, and am I correct that there was a stipulation signed in June of 2015?
Yes,
That-
ma'am.
Madam Magistrate, that stipulation has been vacated because of a year and a half of litigation. All those stipulations have been vacated. New stipulations were entered into in June of 2016 with regards to this property to allow an opportunity to bring it and to have the permits issued. Madam Magistrate, can I just tell you where we are right now with regards to this whole
Okay,
process?
let me ask one other question.
Sure.
Has there been any opportunity in which there's been any kind of commercial publication, just out of my own curiosity, inviting other people other than the private, that, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, no. I believe that and I have seen something from the city attorney's office, but I have not, to my knowledge, that, and my client is here to testify,
Okay.
of any advertisement.
Okay, I'm not sure that.
Can I respond to that, please?
Okay, I'm not sure that it's gonna be relevant, because according to the inspector, it is not a relevant issue as to whether it's been open to commercial or whether it's only private, because the law applies across the board. However, if your attorney wants you to testify,
You certainly may.
okay, could you state your name for the record, please?
I'm Scott Schlesinger. I think
On the record, sir, please.
yeah, Scott Schlesinger on the record.
Okay,
So,
and you are the owner of this property at 2300 Hayes Street.
I own the company that owns the property. I'm the owner. It's
What's the name of the company?
It's Strand Management. It owns
Okay.
property on Hayes.
Okay,
Just to the
I
point,
can't hear you. Could you use the microphone?
you can't hear me?
No, I really can't.
Okay.
okay,
Yeah, to the point.
okay.
And because I just have to disabuse the council and the fire inspector of this notion that somehow this is a public facility. In the adversarial atmosphere that this particular fire inspector has created years after she was aware of and passing all inspections on this property, she went to find on the internet somewhere, right, the source of all accurate material, a photograph that somebody had posted that they found of the facility, and she called that a website, right, and that it was open to the public. It's never been open to the public.
Okay,
We've never sold a ticket or made a penny of any kind to earn money. It's a private recreational facility inside a privately owned building that's been there since the year 2000, right? Which has been fine with this city with the fire inspections for 15 consecutive years. That's
Okay.
what's going on. And the fellow that was usually in your seat has been diligently working with us now, repeatedly for more than a year, trying to sort out, getting it so that we can make the city happy, that it's safe and permittable, and we're spending tens of thousands of dollars to try to do that. And all we're trying to do is get some reciprocity in the city where the city is in control of the permit process. So we submit our applications and ask for approvals, and then they say, we're gonna give you a limited amount of time to get the approval from us when we control the approval process. So I can't have, you control both ends of it. In other words, I'm willing to do whatever you need to do to get it approved, but you keep coming back here every month, and every month we gotta beg for a little more time because the city is holding up the approval. Everything they want, we give them. Every bill they want, we pay them. We spend an inordinate fortune of money, and they say, we're not going fast enough when they're the ones that are delaying the approval process. So you got both sides of it under your control.
okay.
This
so
is
Tom-
going, this is
Tom
like the fourth
Ansbro-
time I've been here.
Tom Ansbro's
Yeah.
heard this before.
And he's trying to get this resolved. He keeps saying, you guys gotta get together, you gotta work it out. My lawyer's been meeting with you guys constantly. Talk about a mountain out of a molehill. It's a place that I got a 7, 9, 11, 13-year-old kid and a couple of friends. They're out there less than once a month. It's been out there 15 years. We spend an hour on a Sunday afternoon when I'm not in the office playing in a recreational facility, okay? I got somebody on my backside now here for no reason. Let's
Magistrate,
turn this into a
I gotta
vendetta
object.
needlessly,
This is
and that's enough.
uncalled
It's
for. This is
enough.
disrespectful to my
No, it's
fire
not
officer.
disrespectful.
He's
It's
sitting there
enough.
pointing at her. He's
It's enough.
basically yelling in her face. This is
It's enough. I'm not
this is
yelling. Don't
not appropriate
mischaracterize
for
what's
this
being done.
quasi-judicial
Okay,
proceeding.
There comes a time, right? There comes a time where enough is enough, right?
Okay,
Why are you
here's-
on me for a place that
Here's
is
my
in
viewpoint.
impeccable condition?
I'm new to this.
Right, I know,
Okay.
you don't know it.
Okay,
Magistrate, this
yes,
matter-
but I have a file in front of me.
Sure.
Okay, as you know, the magistrate, myself, Mr. Ansbro, have no control over the permit process. We have no control over the fire department, over the fire inspector. We're just here to decide what has to be done with this property. Unless you have some law that says that the fact that it is not commercially advertised, but just used by family and friends, I'm not interested in that argument, because that argument doesn't fly, because what she said is the correct law, which is a commercial property regardless of who's actually using it. And obviously, she and the fire department aren't gonna go in there and monitor who's there, what day, when, all right? So I'm not interested in that. As far as issuing the permit, I have no control over that, nor do I have any information before me that the permit department is being abusive, harassing. I have no idea what they do.
I'm not saying that.
Well,
All I'm saying,
what are you laying the blame for that this is not meeting the standards?
and
If you want your attorney to respond, or
the
you can
only
respond.
thing I wanna say is this: you all are controlling both sides of this.
No, not
right?
you all. I'm the
Okay,
magistrate.
but
I'm
well,
not
I
you
know.
all.
Mr. Hansbrough is trying to get us to.
Who's Mr. Hansbrough?
You're Tom Hansbrough. You're
Oh,
your
Mr.
counterpart.
Ansbrough.
Yes.
Yes.
He's been trying, every time I come here, he says, get together, work it out, sit down. I send the attorney, he meets with the various folks, I have engineers, architects, designers, all involved. I spend all this time, all this money, I keep coming down here to come to the meeting. We have no control over how long it takes for the inspections and the permits and what have you to take place, no control. So we submit and we wait. And then what happens is we come up against a deadline that the city is imposing to complete a process over which they control the timing of the outcome.
I understand that.
Here's what we need. We just need the 90 days or the 60 days or whatever period of time it takes to get it finished. We're trying to cooperate, submit everything, pay for everything, do everything. And every time we say, we haven't got it done yet because we're still waiting for you guys to get back to us, they go, no, we want to impose a fine and we want to put a fine on you. We already did this once and we had to undo it because of these fines. It went back to 2015. It all had to be.
Magistrate, I
all
had
this-
brought up the fact that we've heard this before.
Right.
That was an appeal, that's not this case.
I'm
Both the
aware-
attorney and the client have brought that up
Right.
inappropriately.
And we
in my belief.
successfully got you all to have
Okay.
to vacate the prior finding. So why is it that I've got a pitchfork to my back to impose fines when we're in a position where we're doing everything
Okay.
you've asked us to do? Just give us the time to do it. Give us 60
Here's the
days,
position
whatever it
Here's
takes.
the position I'm in, which is probably better than Tom Ansbrough, because I'm new to this, but I do have the file in front of me indicating that this started 2 years ago,
Yeah.
which is a long time,
Right.
okay? So, is the other person who's a witness here yet?
Phil's right there, magistrate, he needs to
Can
be
I-
sworn in.
Okay.
We just need
Can I
some
comment
time.
on the permit
Inspector Hoffman
process?
wants to
Excuse me.
comment.
So they did submit a permit.
What is the last,
Yeah, back in January, fire did the first review on February 9th of 2017. And even after multiple times talking with them about what was needed, they really didn't submit the occupancy type, how they wanted to use it, the exiting, the all these things are missing, so they really couldn't even do a first review. And then, so that went through the review process, and they tried to expedite it as much as possible. I'm sure you're aware of how much permits are there, so they tried to get it as quickly as possible, but there's still a lot of things missing, and it's basically will be a whole nother, almost like a first review when they submit how they're gonna use it. They have to have a designer design it and show us how they're using it and how it meets all of the codes.
okay, so.
All right, may I respond to that, please?
All right,
Because
just wait 1 second. All right, so your testimony is that regardless of the fact that this has been going on for 2 years, okay, and I understand that there have been meetings involving the city attorney's office?
I have attended some meetings.
City Attorney's Office, Fire Department,
With the building department.
Building Department. I understand that this has been going on for 2 years, and I'm a little bit unnerved by the fact that I've been working with these people for 3 years, and they seem very reasonable to me. And if something's going on for 2 years, there's gotta be something going on this side, which is not totally cooperative.
It's not true.
That, magistrate, that's absolutely not true, and
Okay.
let me respond to that. With regards to the fire department, I have multiple letters here that we have in submitting and following up on what is the position of the fire department with regards to what we've submitted.
Are you saying the fire department has not
I-
told you what
I-
they want?
We responded to the fire department's comments immediately on March 9th by enclosing a life safety plan for the above referenced property, including stairs and handrails, to comply with section 722 and 7224 of the Fire Prevention Code. We heard absolutely nothing. We followed up again on April 17th. Madam Magistrate, here, let me just let you know very briefly where we are.
Very briefly.
We met with Donald Lampert with the building department last week, who advised that this needs to be an A3 occupancy, okay?
Which is
And
assembly.
excuse me.
Sorry.
And this actually differed from my colleague, the fire department's determination that says that this was an A2 occupancy. Well, our design engineer believes and has told us that this is a U occupancy. And so what we did was we immediately, because of this issue, which actually has consequences as to fire sprinklers, egress, number of exits, occupancy totals, parking, we've already filed an appeal with the Board of Rules and Appeals with regard to this absolutely key issue as to the occupancy type. There was a hearing scheduled on June 8th, 2017 for this to be determined.
Before whom?
The Broward County Board of Rules and Appeals, which under the Florida Building Code is the applicable, as you know, administrative body to hear disputes between residents and building officials with regards to issues just like this.
Okay.
All right. So notwithstanding that, so that my client can protect its legal rights and due process, we met this morning with my representative for my client met with Mr. Sauer this morning as a means to continue to work with the building department. And based upon that meeting, we are extremely optimistic that all we need to do, based on what was discussed then, is to resubmit within the next 10 days revised drawings that can be hopefully responded to by the city in a timely fashion. The reason why we're here for 3 months after we submitted our application in January is that it took literally almost 3 months for the entire review to be completed. I have the printed out copy right here from the building department, where the last review was done April 10th, 2017. And
Let me hear from Mr. Sauer. I think that would be
And
really
Magistrate,
helpful.
if I can just make a brief argument. There
Absolutely.
have been a lot of sort of harsh things said about the Hollywood's building department. Generally, when people build structures like this, they get permits before they build them. That's why that happens. That's why you don't build a structure and then have to retroactively go and get these very complicated permits, because it doesn't always go out, it doesn't always work the way you want it to. I do invite Phil to speak, and it's like, once you get magistrate, he has to be sworn in.
And magistrate, this has been here since the year 2000. It's passed muster with the city every single year, even by this particular inspector, all the way through the year 2015. You know what waiver is? This thing is like having a swing set in a warehouse. It doesn't need a permit. It never legally needed a permit, but you all said, we want you to permit it. So I'm trying to do that, and I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars to do it.
Okay. let
So,
me hear-
I mean,
let
in
me
other
hear-
words, all you gotta do is show me the path and I'll do it. You tell me what I gotta do,
Okay.
I'll do it. But saying you've gotta do something and then not letting me do it and saying, in the meantime, we're gonna fine you, that's why we had to vacate the last ruling. So,
Okay.
if we can't.
Magistrate, this is
you know,
absolutely ridiculous.
no,
That is
this-
absolutely
no,
not
you're
correct.
right.
That is absolutely not correct.
You're wrong,
And I have to
and you're
object to that,
unprofessional.
magistrate.
Don't call me
Magistrate,
ridiculous,
Magistrate,
okay? You're
I don't wanna
don't
get
say
into
that.
the fact that the last
Right?
appeal
That's
was
disrespectful.
settled.
Okay?
Sir,
All right.
please,
It was vacated. It was vacated because it was wrong. And the city had to back
Okay.
off the
Magistrate, it
situation.
was vacated because
it was
Mr.
dead
Schlesinger
wrong.
here,
Because we've had it out there for 15 years. 15 years.
Okay.
Why did it become a problem 15 years later when she saw it and wrote it up fine every year? Explain that to me.
Okay.
And now we're here and we're going through the rigmarole, okay, which is nonsensical, and I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to pay for it. I'm willing to put up with it. Put up with guys like that But
Okay.
show me